You know what breaks the heart more than anything else? It's not the goodbye. It's not even the betrayal. It's the moment you realize you've been fighting alone. You've been pouring your soul into someone who never even bothered to hold the cup. You've been showing up again and again for someone who wouldn't cross the street for you. And the worst part? You knew it. Deep down, you knew it all along. But you kept going. You kept trying. You kept believing that maybe, just maybe, if you loved hard enough, if you gave enough, if you stayed patient enough, things would change. But they didn't change, did they? And now you're here, tired, worn out, feeling like you gave away pieces of yourself that you're never getting back, wondering when it became normal to accept crumbs when you were serving a full meal, wondering when you stopped mattering to yourself because you were too busy trying to matter to someone else. Listen to me closely. This message right here, right now, is for you. The one who's been holding on when everything inside is screaming to let go. The one who's been making excuses for people who never made time for you. The one who's been calling it love when it's been hurting you for months, maybe years. There comes a moment in every person's life when God whispers in the silence of your pain, enough. Not with anger. Not with judgment. But with love. With the kind of love that says, I didn't create you to be diminished. I didn't breathe life into you so you could spend it begging for attention from people who treat you like an option. Understanding when enough is enough isn't about giving up. It's about waking up. It's about finally, opening your eyes and seeing what's really there instead of what you've been hoping would be there. It's about respect. Not just respect for others, but respect for yourself. And that, my friend, that is where the real conversation begins. Because let me tell you something that nobody wants to say out loud, you can love someone with every fiber of your being and still need to walk away. You can care deeply, pray constantly, hope endlessly, and still reach a point where staying becomes self-destruction. And when you reach that point, choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's sacred. God never asked you to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. He never asked you to lose yourself in the process of loving someone else. He never said, abandon your worth, ignore your pain, and keep giving to people who keep taking. That's not love. That's not faith. That's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being wrong. Fear of admitting that you've invested so much in something that's been breaking you all along. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about all the good moments. All the times they made you smile. All the promises they made. All the reasons you fell in love in the first place. And yes, those moments were real. But here's what you need to understand. Good moments don't erase bad patterns. A few kind words don't undo months of neglect. One apology doesn't heal a wound that keeps getting reopened. You've been holding on to potential. To what could be. To who they said they would become. But potential isn't reality. And you can't build a life on maybe. You can't pour your heart into someday. You can't keep sacrificing your peace for someone else's promise. There's a difference between being patient and being a doormat. There's a difference between being understanding and being taken for granted. There's a difference between loving someone and losing yourself. And if you're honest, truly honest with yourself, you know which side of that line you're on. I want you to think about something. Think about how you treat the people you love. Think about the effort you put in. The calls you make. The ways you show up. The sacrifices you make without being asked. The attention you give. The care you show. Now think about what you're receiving in return. Not what you wish you were receiving. Not what you hope will come. What's actually there? Does it match? Does it even come close? Because here's a truth that's hard to swallow. People make time for what matters to them. They make effort for who matters to them. They show up for who they value. And if you're constantly feeling like you're too much or not enough, or always the one reaching out, always the one trying, always the one wondering if you matter, then you already have your answer. And that answer hurts. It hurts like nothing else. Because you wanted it to be different. You prayed for it to be different. You believed it would be different. But wanting something doesn't make it true. And ignoring red flags doesn't make them disappear. You see, there's a kind of pain that comes from loving someone who doesn't love you the same way. But there's an even deeper pain that comes from knowing this and staying anyway. That's the pain of betraying yourself. That's the pain of choosing someone else over your own soul. That's the pain of knowing you deserve better but accepting less because you're afraid of starting over. And God sees that pain. He sees you crying in the quiet hours. He sees you questioning your worth. He sees you trying to fix what you didn't break. He sees you giving and giving and giving until there's nothing left of you. And his heart breaks. Not because he can't help you, but because he's been trying to help you, and you keep going back to what's hurting you. He's been sending you signs. In the sleepless nights. In the anxiety that won't go away. In the friends who gently tell you what you don't want to hear. In the peace you lost. In the joy that's gone. In the version of yourself you don't recognize anymore. He's been whispering, "This isn't what I have for you. This isn't the love I designed for you. This isn't the life I created you to live." But you've been scared to listen. Because listening means accepting. And accepting means acting. And acting means leaving. And leaving feels impossible when you've built your world around someone who's been tearing it down. Here's what I need you to hear. Your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. Read that again. Your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. You are valuable because you exist. Because you were created with purpose. Because you carry light even when you feel like you're drowning in darkness. And someone's failure to recognize that, to cherish that, to honor that, says everything about them and nothing about you. You've been trying to prove yourself to someone who should have been grateful to have you from day one. You've been working for love that should have been freely given. You've been earning what should have been offered. And that's exhausting. That's soul-crushing. That's not what love is supposed to feel like. Real love doesn't make you question your value. Real love doesn't leave you feeling empty. Real love doesn't require you to beg for basic respect. Real love doesn't make you smaller so someone else can feel bigger. Real love sees you, chooses you, keeps you, protects you, and never makes you wonder where you stand. And if what you have doesn't look like that, then what you have isn't love. It might be attachment. It might be habit. It might be fear of the unknown. It might be hope dressed up as devotion. But it's not love. And you know it. Deep in your bones, you know it. So when is enough actually enough? It's when staying costs you more than leaving. It's when you've explained how you feel so many times that the words have lost their meaning. It's when you realize you're not asking for too much, you're just asking the wrong person. It's when you finally understand that you can't make someone care. You can't force someone to try. You can't love someone into loving you back. Enough is enough when you're tired of being an option. When you're exhausted from carrying all the weight. When you've cried more tears than you've smiled smiles. When you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back because you've given away so much of yourself that there's barely anything left. Enough is enough when God's whisper becomes a shout, and you can't ignore it anymore. When staying becomes a sin against your own spirit. When you realize that the life you're settling for is blocking the life you're meant to live. And I know you're scared. I know you're thinking about all the what-ifs. What if you're making a mistake? What if they change after you leave? What if you never find anyone else? What if you're too old, too damaged, too tired to start again? But let me ask you this. What if staying is the real mistake? What if you're meant for something so much better, but you'll never receive it because your hands are full holding on to what's breaking you? What if the best years of your life are waiting on the other side of your courage? What if your healing, your peace, your joy, your purpose are all waiting for you to choose yourself? God is not asking you to be alone forever. He's asking you to be whole. And sometimes, becoming whole means walking away from what's making you broken. Sometimes it means saying no to what's familiar so you can say yes to what's right. Sometimes it means trusting that the God who brought you this far will carry you the rest of the way. If this message is stirring something in your soul, if these words are speaking to exactly where you are right now, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Not for me, but so that someone else who's struggling in silence, someone who needs to hear that it's okay to choose themselves, can find this message too. Let's build a community of people who are learning that loving ourselves isn't selfish, it's necessary. You were not created to be someone's convenience. You were not designed to be someone's maybe. You were not formed to live in the shadow of someone who won't step into the light with you. You were made for more. You were made for love that matches your effort. For peace that doesn't require you to fight for it. For joy that doesn't come with conditions. And until you believe that, until you truly know that in the depths of your soul, you'll keep accepting less. You'll keep making excuses. You'll keep hoping for change that isn't coming. You'll keep sacrificing your well-being on the altar of someone else's comfort. But there's another way. A better way. A way that begins with a simple, powerful, life-changing decision. I matter. My peace matters. My happiness matters. My future matters. And I will not keep giving my energy to someone who won't give me their respect. That decision, that single moment of choosing yourself, is where everything changes. That's where the healing begins. That's where you stop being a victim of someone else's neglect and become the author of your own restoration. It won't be easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. There will be nights when you question everything. There will be moments when you miss what you left behind, even though you know it was hurting you. There will be times when you feel weak, when you want to go back, when the loneliness feels heavier than the pain you were carrying. But here's what you need to remember in those moments. You didn't come this far to only come this far. You didn't find the strength to walk away just to walk back into bondage. You didn't choose yourself just to abandon yourself again. And God, the one who knows you better than you know yourself, the one who counts every tear and hears every prayer, He's walking with you. He's holding you up when you feel like falling. He's making a way when you can't see the path. He's preparing something beautiful in the place where you thought there was only pain. Because that's what God does. He takes our broken pieces and creates masterpieces. He takes our endings and turns them into beginnings. He takes our sacrifices and turns them into blessings. But first, we have to let go. We have to trust. We have to take that terrifying, beautiful step of faith that says, I don't know what's ahead, but I know what's behind me isn't where I'm meant to stay. Understanding when enough is self-respect. It's self-love. It's self-preservation. It's recognizing that you are too precious, too valuable, too important to waste your life waiting for someone to see what's been in front of them all along. You've given enough. You've tried enough. You've waited enough. You've hurt enough. You've sacrificed enough. You've cried enough. You've hoped enough. You've held on enough. Now it's time to let go. It's time to choose you. It's time to honor the person God created you to be. It's time to stop settling for crumbs and start believing you deserve the whole feast. It's time to close the door on what's been draining you and open your heart to what's meant to fill you. This isn't the end of your story. This is the beginning of the chapter where you finally become the main character in your own life instead of a supporting role in someone else's. This is where you stop asking for permission to matter and start knowing that you already do. So take a deep breath. Feel the weight of what you've been carrying. And then, slowly, gently, with all the love you've been giving away, give yourself permission to put it down. Give yourself permission to walk away. Give yourself permission to believe that something better is waiting. Because it is. God has already prepared it. He's just been waiting for you to make room for it. And that room, that space, that freedom, it comes when you finally understand that knowing when enough is enough isn't about being cold or hard or unforgiving. It's about being human. It's about being honest. It's about being whole. It's about respecting the life God gave you enough to protect it from what's trying to destroy it. You are worthy of love that doesn't hurt. You are worthy of peace that doesn't require battle. You are worthy of joy that doesn't come with conditions. And until you believe that, until you truly know that, you'll keep accepting less than what God intended for you. But today can be different. Today can be the day you choose yourself. Today can be the day you say enough. Today can be the day your healing begins. Not because you stopped loving them, but because you finally started loving yourself enough to walk away from what's been breaking you. And that, my friend, that is the most sacred, powerful, beautiful thing you can do. Now let's talk about what happens next. Because knowing you need to let go and actually letting go are two completely different things. You can understand with your mind that something is over, that someone isn't good for you, that you deserve better, and still feel like your heart is being ripped out of your chest when you try to walk away. And that's okay. That's normal. That's human. Don't let anyone make you feel weak because it's hard. Don't let anyone tell you to just get over it, or move on already. Healing doesn't work on someone else's timeline. Growth doesn't happen because someone tells you to hurry up. Freedom comes in its own time, in God's time, and the journey there is just as important as the destination. But here's what I need you to understand. The guilt you're feeling right now, that heavy weight in your chest that's telling you you're being selfish, that you're giving up, that you're the bad person in the situation, that's not the voice of truth. That's the voice of conditioning. That's the voice of every time someone told you that your needs don't matter. That's the voice of every moment you learned to put yourself last. That's the voice of fear disguised as virtue. Real guilt comes from doing something wrong. What you're feeling isn't real guilt. It's the discomfort of finally doing something right. It's the unfamiliar feeling of choosing yourself after years of choosing everyone else. It's the strange, almost foreign experience of saying no when you've spent your whole life saying yes. And let me tell you something about people who make you feel guilty for having boundaries. They're the same people who benefited from you not having any. Think about that. The people who get upset when you start protecting yourself are the ones who were taking advantage of your openness. The people who call you selfish when you choose your peace are the ones who were comfortable with your pain. The people who say you've changed are the ones who liked you better when you were broken. So yes, you have changed. And thank God for that. Because the old you was dying inside. The old you was giving everything and getting nothing. The old you was so busy being what everyone else needed that you forgot who you actually were. And if people don't like the new you, the one who has standards, the one who has boundaries, the one who knows their worth, then those aren't your people. They never were. God is in the business of transformation. He's in the business of taking what's dead and bringing it back to life. But he can't resurrect what you won't release. He can't heal what you won't let go of. He can't fill your hands with new blessings when you're still clutching old pain. You know what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to stay stuck. The enemy wants you to believe that leaving means failure. The enemy wants you to think that your suffering is noble, that your sacrifice is holy, that your pain is proof of your love. But that's a lie straight from hell. God never glorifies suffering that you have the power to stop. He never celebrates bondage that you have the key to unlock. He never honors chains that you're choosing to wear. There's a story in the Bible about the Israelites in Egypt. They were slaves. They were suffering. They were crying out to God for freedom. And God heard them. He sent Moses. He performed miracles. He made a way where there was no way. He opened the Red Sea. He led them out of bondage with signs and wonders. But you know what's interesting? Even after all that, even after God literally parted the waters to set them free, some of them wanted to go back. Some of them missed Egypt. Some of them complained that slavery was better than the uncertainty of freedom. Do you see yourself in that story? Because I do. I see so many of us, standing on the edge of our freedom, looking back at our Egypt, our bondage, our pain, and thinking, at least it was familiar. At least I knew what to expect. At least I wasn't alone. And we're tempted, so tempted to go back. To return to what's comfortable even though it's killing us. To choose the known prison over the unknown promise. But here's what you need to remember. God didn't bring you this far to take you back there. He didn't give you the strength to see the truth just so you could close your eyes again. He didn't open the door to your freedom so you could lock yourself back in the cage. He brought you out. And yes, the wilderness is uncomfortable. Yes, the journey is hard. Yes, there are moments when you feel lost and alone and uncertain. But that wilderness is leading somewhere. That discomfort is temporary. That journey has a destination. And that destination is a version of you that you've never met before. A version that knows their worth. A version that doesn't beg for love. A version that doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. A version that stands tall in their truth and doesn't apologize for taking up space. A version that understands that self-respect isn't selfish, it's essential. Getting there requires something from you though. It requires you to stop romanticizing your pain. Stop telling yourself that suffering makes you strong. Stop believing that enduring mistreatment is the same as being patient. Stop confusing toxicity with passion. Stop mistaking chaos for connection. Because somewhere along the way, we've been taught that real love is supposed to hurt. That if it's easy, it's not worth it. That struggle equals depth. That pain equals proof. And we've carried that lie into every relationship, every situation, every moment where we should have walked away but stayed because we thought that's what loyalty looked like. But God's design for love is not pain. Yes, love requires sacrifice. Yes, love requires effort. Yes, love requires compromise. But it doesn't require you to destroy yourself. It doesn't require you to accept disrespect. It doesn't require you to lose your identity. It doesn't require you to live in constant anxiety, wondering if today is the day they'll decide you're worth their time. Healthy love is peaceful. Healthy love is consistent. Healthy love makes you feel safe, not scared. Healthy love adds to your life, it doesn't drain it. Healthy love sees your value and protects it. And if what you're in doesn't look like that, then what you're in isn't love, and staying in it isn't loyalty, it's self-abandonment. Now, I want to talk to those of you who are thinking, but I've invested so much time. But we've been through so much together. But what if I never find this again? But I'm too old to start over. But everyone else is married, settled, happy. But what will people think? But I don't want to be alone. Listen to me. Every single one of those statements is rooted in fear, not faith. Every single one of those thoughts is about what you might lose, not what you might gain. Every single one of those worries is looking backward, not forward. And you cannot walk into your future while staring at your past. Time invested is not a reason to stay. It's actually more of a reason to leave. Because every day you stay in something that's not right for you is another day you're not available for what is right for you. Every moment you spend trying to force something that doesn't fit is a moment you're not open to receiving something that does. And being alone. Let me tell you about being alone. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. You can be in a relationship and be the loneliest person in the world. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely isolated. Because loneliness isn't about the absence of people. It's about the absence of connection. It's about the absence of being truly seen, truly known, truly valued. And if you're with someone who doesn't see you, who doesn't know you, who doesn't value you, then you're already alone. The only difference is you're alone while pretending you're not. You're alone while exhausting yourself trying to be enough for someone who's already decided you're not. You're alone while giving your everything to someone who's giving you their nothing. So don't be afraid of being alone. Be afraid of being in something that makes you feel alone. Be afraid of wasting your precious, beautiful, irreplaceable life on someone who treats it like it's ordinary. Be afraid of getting to the end of your days and realizing you spent them all waiting for someone to love you the way you loved them, and they never did. Your age doesn't matter. Your past doesn't disqualify you. Your mistakes don't define you. Your scars don't decrease your value. You are not too anything or not enough anything to deserve real love. You're not too damaged, too old, too broken, too complicated. Those are lies designed to keep you trapped. Those are fears meant to paralyze you. Those are excuses that will rob you of your future if you let them. God can make all things new. All things. Including you. Including your heart. Including your hope. Including your capacity to trust and love and believe again. But you have to give Him the chance. You have to step out of what's familiar and trust that He's leading you somewhere better. If you're finding strength in this message, if something inside you is waking up, if you're feeling that small flame of courage starting to burn, would you hit that like button and subscribe? Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because there's someone in your life right now, maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe someone you haven't talked to in years, who's in the exact same place you are. And they need to know they're not alone. They need to know it's okay to choose themselves. They need to know that God is with them in this decision. Here's what choosing yourself actually looks like in practice. It looks like setting boundaries and keeping them even when it's uncomfortable. It looks like saying, "That doesn't work for me," without explaining yourself to death. It looks like recognizing patterns instead of making excuses for them. It looks like believing people's actions instead of their words. It looks like understanding that you can't change anyone, you can only choose how long you'll participate in what they're showing you. Choosing yourself means you stop waiting for apologies that aren't coming. You stop hoping for change that isn't happening. You stop making yourself smaller so someone else can feel bigger. You stop accepting breadcrumbs and calling it a meal. You stop performing for love that should be freely given. You stop auditioning for a role in someone's life when you should be the lead in your own. And yes, people will have opinions. People will judge. People will say you didn't try hard enough, you gave up too easily, you should have been more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. Let them talk. Let them think what they want. Because they're not living your life. They're not feeling your pain. They're not lying awake at night wondering why you're not enough. They're not carrying the weight you've been carrying. So their opinions, as loud as they might be, don't get to dictate your decisions. The only opinion that matters is God's. And God's opinion of you has never wavered. He's never looked at you with disappointment. He's never wished you were different. He's never compared you to anyone else. He created you exactly as you are, and He calls you worthy. He calls you beloved. He calls you chosen. And anyone who makes you question that, anyone who makes you feel less than that, anyone who diminishes that, doesn't deserve access to you. You've been so focused on being chosen by them that you forgot you were already chosen by Him. You've been so desperate to be seen by someone who's looking right past you that you haven't noticed the God who's never taken His eyes off you. You've been so busy trying to earn human love that you've forgotten you already have divine love, unconditional love, eternal love that will never leave you, never forsake you, never make you wonder where you stand. And when you truly grasp that, when you truly understand that you are completely, totally, utterly loved by the Creator of the universe, other people's rejection loses its power. Their neglect stops defining you. Their absence stops devastating you. Because you realize that their inability to love you properly says nothing about your lovability and everything about their capacity. Not everyone can handle what you bring to the table. Not everyone can appreciate what you offer. Not everyone can rise to meet you where you are. And that's okay. That's not your problem to fix. Your problem is that you've been trying to fix it. You've been trying to teach people how to value you. You've been trying to convince people to choose you. You've been trying to prove your worth to people who've already shown you they don't recognize it. Stop teaching. Stop convincing. Stop proving. The right people won't need any of that. The right people will see you and know. They'll recognize your value without you having to perform it. They'll appreciate your presence without you having to earn it. They'll protect your peace without you having to fight for it. And until those people show up, until God brings the right connections into your life, you need to be okay with your own company. You need to learn to enjoy your own presence. You need to fall in love with your own life. Not in a narcissistic way, but in a healthy, whole, healed way. In a way that says, I am enough all by myself. I am complete in who God made me to be. I don't need someone else to validate me or complete me or save me. Because here's the secret they don't tell you. You attract what you are, not what you want. If you're broken, you'll attract broken. If you're desperate, you'll attract users. If you're unsure of your worth, you'll attract people who confirm that uncertainty. But if you're whole, if you're healed, if you're confident in who you are and whose you are, you'll attract people who add to that, not subtract from it. So the work you're doing right now, the painful work of letting go, the difficult work of choosing yourself, the uncomfortable work of setting boundaries, this isn't just about ending something that's not right. It's about preparing yourself for something that is. It's about becoming the person who's ready to receive the blessings God has for you. It's about healing the parts of you that have been accepting less so that when more shows up, you'll recognize it and be ready for it. God is not punishing you by asking you to let go. He's protecting you. He's redirecting you. He's making room in your life for what He's already prepared. And I know it doesn't feel like protection when it hurts this much. I know it doesn't feel like redirection when you're this confused. I know it doesn't feel like preparation when you're this broken. But trust the process. Trust the God who's leading it. Trust that He sees what you can't see. Trust that He knows what you don't know. Trust that His plans for you are good, even when the path there is hard. We're coming to the heart of this message now, and I need you to really hear this part. Because everything we've talked about, all the pain, all the realization, all the courage it takes to walk away, it all leads to this moment. The moment where you have to decide, am I going to let what happened to me define the rest of my life, or am I going to let it refine me? See, you have a choice right now. You can carry this pain like a badge, like proof of what you've survived, like evidence of how much you've endured. You can let it make you bitter, suspicious, closed off, afraid to ever trust again. You can build walls so high that nobody can hurt you, but nobody can reach you either. Or you can do something radically different. You can let this pain become your portal. Your portal to wisdom. Your portal to strength. Your portal to a version of yourself you never would have discovered if everything had gone the way you planned. Because here's what I've learned, and what I hope you'll come to understand. God doesn't waste anything. Not your tears. Not your heartbreak. Not your mistakes. Not your time. He takes every single moment, even the ones that felt meaningless, even the ones that felt destructive, and He weaves them into something purposeful. He's been doing it since the beginning of time. Taking chaos and creating order. Taking darkness and creating light. Taking death and creating resurrection. But you have to partner with Him in that process. You have to stop fighting against what is and start moving toward what can be. You have to release the need to understand why it happened and trust that God will show you what it's for. Because everything is either a blessing or a lesson. Everything is either adding to your life or teaching you what to remove from it. And the situation you're in right now, the one that's been breaking your heart, it's been teaching you. It's been teaching you what you will and won't tolerate. It's been teaching you the difference between love and attachment. It's been teaching you that your peace is more valuable than your pride. It's been teaching you that walking away doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It's been teaching you that some chapters have to end so new ones can begin. And I know you wanted that chapter to have a different ending. I know you wanted the person to change, the situation to improve, the love to be enough. But wanting something doesn't make it right for you. And just because something ends doesn't mean it failed. Some things are only meant to be in our lives for a season. Some people are only meant to teach us what we needed to learn. Some experiences are only meant to prepare us for what's coming next. You served your time in that season. You learned what you needed to learn. You gave what you had to give. And now it's time. Time to close that chapter. Time to put down that weight. Time to step into what God has been preparing while you were busy holding on to what He was trying to remove. Think about a caterpillar for a moment. Stay with me here. A caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by trying harder to be a better caterpillar. It doesn't happen by fixing what's wrong or improving what's lacking. It happens through complete transformation. The caterpillar has to surrender to the cocoon. It has to let go of everything it's ever known. It has to trust a process that makes no sense. And in that cocoon, in that dark, isolated, uncomfortable place, everything changes. Everything breaks down. Everything is remade. And you, my friend, you're in your cocoon right now. This painful, confusing, isolating season you're in, this isn't the end of your story. This is the transformation. This is where God is breaking down everything that's not serving you so He can rebuild you into who you're meant to become. This is where the old you, the one who accepted less, the one who ignored red flags, the one who sacrificed peace for proximity, that version is dying. And it should die. It needs to die. Because it's making room for something beautiful. But you have to let it happen. You have to stop trying to rush the process. Stop trying to skip the pain. Stop trying to go back to who you were before all this happened. Because who you were before is who ended up here. And you don't want to be that person anymore. You want to be the person who emerges from this stronger, wiser, more sure of who they are and what they deserve. That person is coming. I promise you, that person is coming. But they can't come while you're still clinging to what's keeping the old you alive. They can't emerge while you're still feeding the patterns that led you here. They can't step forward while you're still looking backward. So what do you do now? How do you actually move forward when everything in you wants to go back? How do you heal when the wound feels so deep? How do you trust again when you've been hurt so badly? How do you open your heart when closing it feels safer? You do it one day at a time. One moment at a time. One choice at a time. You wake up in the morning and you choose yourself. You feel the urge to reach out and you choose silence instead. You remember the good times and you remind yourself of the real times. You feel lonely and you sit with it instead of running from it. You want to give up and you pray instead. You feel weak and you ask God for strength. You feel lost and you trust that He knows the way. It's not going to be perfect. There will be days when you take 10 steps forward and 5 steps back. There will be moments when you're absolutely certain you're doing the right thing and moments when you question everything. There will be nights when you sleep peacefully and nights when you cry yourself to sleep. There will be times when you feel strong and times when you feel like you're falling apart. And all of that is okay. All of that is part of healing. Healing isn't linear. It's messy. It's complicated. It's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's good days and bad days and days where you don't even know what you feel. But every single one of those days, even the hard ones, they're taking you somewhere. They're teaching you something. They're building something in you that couldn't be built any other way. You're learning resilience. You're learning that you can survive what you thought would destroy you. You're learning that your worth doesn't come from someone else's validation. You're learning that peace is more valuable than anything you're sacrificing it for. You're learning that God is with you even when everyone else walks away. You're learning that you're stronger than you ever knew, braver than you ever believed, more capable than you ever imagined. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, you're going to wake up and realize you haven't thought about them in hours. Then days. Then weeks. You're going to realize that the pain that used to consume you is now just a dull ache. You're going to realize that you're laughing again, dreaming again, hoping again. You're going to realize that you survived. More than that, you're going to realize that you're thriving. And on that day, you're going to look back at this moment, this painful, difficult, devastating moment, and you're going to thank God for it. Not because you enjoyed the pain. Not because you're glad it happened. But because you'll finally see what it produced in you. You'll see the strength it built. You'll see the wisdom it gave you. You'll see the person it made you become. And you'll realize that you never would have become that person without going through this. God doesn't give us what we can handle. He helps us handle what we're given. And you've been given a lot. You've been carrying a lot. You've been enduring a lot. But you're still here. You're still standing. You're still believing that there's something more for you. And that belief, that hope, that faith, that's going to carry you through. Before we close, I want to pray over you. Not a formal prayer, but a real one. A prayer from one heart that's been broken to another. God, I pray for the person reading this right now. I pray that you wrap your arms around them in this moment. That you remind them that they're not alone, they've never been alone. I pray that you give them the courage to do what they know they need to do. The strength to walk away from what's hurting them. The faith to believe that you have something better waiting. I pray that you heal every broken piece of their heart. That you restore everything that's been taken from them. That you show them their worth, their value, their purpose. I pray that you turn their pain into power, their mess into a message, their test into a testimony. And I pray that one day soon, they'll look back on this season and see your hand in every single moment. In Jesus' name, amen. If this message has touched your heart, if you found yourself in these words, if you feel like God led you here for a reason, I want to ask you one more time. Please subscribe and leave a like on this video. Not just for the algorithm, but so that this message can reach someone else who's hurting. Someone else who needs to hear that it's okay to choose themselves. Someone else who needs to know that their worth isn't determined by someone else's inability to see it. You never know who needs to stumble across this today. Here's what I want you to remember as we close. Understanding when enough is self-respect. It's not giving up. It's not being selfish. It's not being unforgiving. It's recognizing that you matter. That your life matters. That your peace matters. That your future matters. And refusing to sacrifice any of that for someone who won't even meet you halfway. You were not created to be diminished. You were not designed to be an option. You were not formed to live in the shadow of someone else's indifference. You were made in the image of God. You were created with purpose. You were designed with intention. You were formed with love. And anyone who treats you as anything less than that doesn't deserve access to the gift that you are. So walk away. Not with hatred. Not with bitterness. Not even with anger. Walk away with grace. Walk away with dignity. Walk away with your head held high knowing that you gave everything you had, and their inability to receive it is not a reflection of your value. Walk away knowing that you're not losing anything real. You're gaining everything that matters. Your peace. Your joy. Your self-respect. Your future. Walk away and don't look back. Not because what's behind you doesn't matter, but because what's in front of you matters more. God has plans for you. Plans to prosper you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Plans that don't include you settling for crumbs. Plans that don't include you begging for love. Plans that don't include you losing yourself to find someone else. His plans for you are good. They're beautiful. They're worth waiting for. They're worth fighting for. They're worth choosing yourself for. And the moment you truly believe that, the moment you truly step into that truth, everything changes. The right people start showing up. The right opportunities start appearing. The right path starts becoming clear. Because you're finally in alignment with who you were created to be instead of who someone else needed you to be. You are worthy of love that's easy. Love that's consistent. Love that's sure. Love that doesn't make you question your value or wonder where you stand. Love that sees you and chooses you and keeps you. Love that protects your peace instead of disturbing it. Love that adds to your life instead of draining it. And until that love shows up, be that love for yourself. Love yourself enough to set boundaries. Love yourself enough to walk away from what's hurting you. Love yourself enough to stop making excuses for people who should be making effort for you. Love yourself enough to believe you deserve better. Love yourself enough to wait for better. Love yourself enough to become better. Because at the end of the day, the relationship you have with yourself sets the standard for every other relationship in your life. If you don't respect yourself, why would anyone else? If you don't value your time, why should anyone else? If you don't protect your peace, who will? The way you treat yourself teaches people how to treat you. And if you've been accepting less, tolerating disrespect, ignoring your needs, sacrificing your well-being, that's what you've been teaching people is acceptable. So it's time to change the lesson. It's time to raise the standard. It's time to show the world, but more importantly show yourself, what you're actually worth. And that starts today. Right now. In this moment. With the simple, powerful, life-changing decision to say, enough is enough. I chose wrong in the past, but I'm choosing right now. I accepted less before, but I'm requiring more now. I ignored my worth then, but I'm honoring it now. I abandoned myself for others, but I'm coming home to myself now. And I'm not going back. I'm not settling. I'm not shrinking. I'm not sacrificing my peace for anyone's presence anymore. That's self-respect. That's self-love. That's wisdom. That's strength. That's courage. That's faith. That's trusting that God has something better for you than what you're leaving behind. That's believing that your best days aren't behind you, they're still ahead of you. That's knowing that this ending is actually a beginning. So let it begin. Let the healing begin. Let the transformation begin. Let the new chapter begin. Let the best version of you begin to emerge from the cocoon of this pain. Let God do what only He can do. Take what's broken and make it beautiful. Take what's ended and make it a beginning. Take what hurt you and use it to help you. Your story isn't over. This is just a comma, not a period. A pause, not an ending. A transition, not a destination. And what's coming next, it's going to be worth everything you're walking away from right now. I promise you that. God promises you that. So take His hand. Trust His plan. Walk into your future with faith. And watch Him turn your pain into purpose, your mess into a message, and your test into a testimony that helps someone else find their way home to themselves. You've got this. God's got you. And enough really is enough. Now go be free.